Christmas Carol Catastrophes, a podcast covering the oddest Christmas songs ever unleashed on an unsuspecting public.
Best way to spread Christmas cheer is singing loud for all to hear.
Let's all sing Deck the Halls.
Santa's watching.
Santa's watching, Santa's creeping. Now you're nodding, now you're sleeping. Were you good for Mom and Dad? Santa knows if you've been bad. There might be a treat for you in Santa's bag of toys. But Christmas won't be fun and games for naughty girls and boys.
And there was the sound of an axe cutting into my proud neighbor.
I'm Eric Paul Johnson.
And I'm Eric Winsenson.
And this is a Christmas song I've never heard before. It's fun, it's bouncy. I understand it's from a movie. Is it from one of those heartwarming Christmas movies that starts off with the main character being cranky or grumpy and at the end comes to embrace the magic of Christmas and fills his heart with holiday joy? Is it like from one of the Santa Clauses or maybe Polar Express or some sort of Disney-type Christmas movie?
Well, Santa's involved.
Well, sure, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, and it does start off with a visit to Grandpa.
Oh.
And Grandpa is, for some reason, doesn't speak and he's very grumpy, but when he does speak, tells the little boy about how Christmas Eve is dangerous because Santa will come, and bad boys will die.
That's not the story I've been told in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or the Polar Express.
And the main character at the end kind of embraces the spirit of Christmas by becoming his own version of Santa.
Oh.
And taking care of those who are naughty, usually by yelling naughty before taking care of them.
Lump of coal or just leaving them nothing?
Topless and impaled on antlers.
I mean, part of that I'm okay with.
Yeah, especially since it's Linnea Quigley, but
I don't know who that is, but I bet she looks good topless.
Well, that's how she spends most of her movies.
Well, now I'm curious. The Christmas movies I watch, there are no boobies. At least no bare ones, anyway. So, maybe I'm interested in this movie now.
Yeah, actually, I expected it to be just another by-the-book slasher film.
Wait, slasher? You mean like somebody takes a knife and slashes the gift wrapping so that they can wrap presents perfectly, right?
Well, there is a knife. Well, there's an axe, actually.
Well, you can't really cut wrapping paper very well with an axe, I would think.
You can't really cut humans very well with it either, but people try.
Well, you're not supposed to be cutting humans at Christmas time. Really, you shouldn't be cutting humans with an axe anytime.
Well, this particular Santa Claus is.
Okay, this song has suddenly taken a much darker turn when associated with this movie.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to be seeing this movie. I kind of have this thing where I don't like bloodshed in my Christmas movies or TV.
Well, yeah, I thought it was going to be just your normal by-the-book kind of slasher. Mm-hmm. It's very story-heavy, and there's a reason for everything that happens, and it's actually pretty well done. And at the time that it came out the same weekend as Nightmare on Elm Street.
By the way, the movie is Silent Night, Deadly Night. We haven't said that yet. Which is a movie about some guy who dresses up as Santa Claus and butchers people?
Right, but there's some reasoning behind it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not just faceless killing. There's a whole story that goes along with it. There are parts of it that are silly because it's low budget, and of course the script is not always that great.
Right.
So there are parts of it that are very exploitation heavy too. But for the most part, it's a really good movie. I just don't know if it's the type of movie you like very much.
It is not.
Or that you would sit down with Tala and Madeline and take a look at.
First of all, I'm a wuss. This is not a secret. I can't watch movies where there's an endless parade of innocent bystanders or people getting chopped up and blood spattering everywhere and just people who really did nothing wrong getting disemboweled and getting their heads cut off and all that. It's one of the reasons why I can't bring myself to watch The Godfather. I know it's a great movie. It's wonderful. It's fantastic. I hear it all the time, but I've seen, well, bits and pieces of it. And just watching that part where that guy gets gunned down at the toll booth, I'm just like, oh, that's too much for me. Because when people who are getting gruesomely eviscerated, getting things cut off and stabbed and ripped off, I feel bad for that person. And it sticks in my head. And after the movie's over, for days, weeks, months, years, I'm like, oh, that poor person who never really actually existed in real life, but still.
Well, Sonny Corleone is not exactly an innocent person.
See, no, I wouldn't think so. No, I don't think so. But that's a lot of bullets to be pumping into a guy.
And then they kick his face at the end to make sure he has a closed casket.
Oh, I didn't make it to that far, to that part. Okay.
Right. No, they do it on purpose to make a point.
Oh, I'm sure.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, also, Godfather is very stylized, but still, it's in the book, and it's not something that you would normally do to
get somebody out of the way.
Get somebody out of the way, right?
Yeah. I just start thinking about, oh, that's gotta hurt. Oh, that must have went through his nipple. Oh my God, that had to go through his junk. That gotta, and just, oh my God, the pain, and just the final thoughts that somebody must have as their essence is just draining from their body. Oh my God, this is it. I'm dying. I have no future. There's gonna be no tomorrow for me. Thinking about all the people they love that they'll never see. Thinking about all the people that love him that are now gonna be really sad. All the holidays you're gonna miss. Your plans for the day are definitely, well, it puts a whole damper on the whole day. And I just get really sad for the person because I always put myself in their place, and it's not a place that I ever want to be. I can't watch those kind of movies. Still, me and the girlfriend that I was with at the time, we saw Face Off in the theater.
Ooh, I love that movie.
There's just some innocent guy getting his boat ready to go out on the shore, and then the bad guy goes to the boat, and the old man just stands up and says, whoa, puts his hands up like, hey, I don't want any trouble, and then bang, shoots him, he's in the water, he's dead. And all I can think about for the rest of the movie and the rest of my life is, oh my God, that poor guy's family. All the mourning, and then they gotta make the funeral and burying, and all the sadness just because he was minding his own business and somebody shot him dead. So, I can't do that. Now, Indiana Jones in Star Wars, sure, there's no blood, the people getting shot deserve it. Well, except for maybe any prisoners the Empire might have had on the Death Star. I don't think they deserve to be incinerated. I guess it was wrong place, wrong time for them.
And there's an entire conversation in Clerks about that situation. Well, about contractors on Death Star 2 and everything.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you didn't know what movie this was from, you'd think this was just, well, this is a nice little Christmas song. Santa's coming, and he's going to bring, if you're naughty, well, he's not going to be very nice to you. Well, sure, he's going to bring coal. But now that you know what the movie's about, he's not bringing coal. He's bringing a hatchet and a gun, and apparently antlers mounted to a wall. You're not going to be sad on Christmas morning. You're going to be dead.
Right.
I mean, lyrically, it's Santa Claus is coming to town, pretty much.
Santa's watching, Santa's creeping. Now you're nodding, now you're sleeping. Were you good for Mom and Dad? Santa knows if you've been bad. He's making a list, checking it twice.
Wanna find out who's naughty and nice? Santa Claus is gunning you down.
If you were to put that to this movie, suddenly Santa Claus is coming to town takes on a much, much darker meaning.
Yep, and that's what I like about this, is because a lot of slashers, they have the same synth music, especially the early 80s. This does have some of that in it. But it has this, and has some other, like, folk music songs in it and everything. Rather than being like in Last House of the Left, where a lot of the songs don't exactly fit what's going on because it's being funny, where that movie is very, very violent. This one is subtly mixing in with the movie, because it's this bouncy tune, almost Beach Boys style, and then you got the lyrics, Santa's creeping.
See, that would
and
be...
if you haven't been good, well, now it's too late. You get these little hints and everything that it's just slightly off of your normal Christmas tune.
Yeah, if we're going to be realistic, Santa Claus does creep around in the dark to put the presents under the tree and in the stocking. So, okay, maybe, sure. And, the other part where Santa's coming, it's too late. Well, if you've been bad up until Christmas Eve before going to bed, it's too late. You're going to get coal. But,
right.
Yeah, with this movie, it's those have very different meanings. As for the song, I like it. I'll even add it to my Christmas playlist, and I will enjoy it. As long as I don't associate it with somebody getting an axe thrown in their chest.
Don't run yourself down, going all over town when you Christmas shop. Play it smart before you start. Buy all your gifts at one spot.
Now, here's a real solution to many of your Christmas shopping problems.
If your friends smoke a long cigarette, give the best of long cigarettes, Fatima.
Give Fatima for quality.
The name Fatima has always stood for the best in cigarette quality.
Give Fatima for flavor.
Fatima has a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette.
Give Fatima. They're extra mild.
Yes, Fatima is the long cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make Fatima extra mild. Yes, extra mild.
So give Fatima for Christmas in the attractive golden yellow carton.
It's the long cigarette that has doubled and redoubled its smokers. Yes, more and more smokers every day agree Fatima is the best of all long cigarettes.
623-850-3375. Call now.
Hello there, Mr. Kringle. Ting-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling.
Got something to say about the song, the podcast, or have a bad Christmas memory to share? Then leave a message on the voicemail. And if we get enough messages, we'll play and respond to them in the post-Christmas wrap-up episode. You got 3 minutes before it cuts you off.
Come on, children. Santa Claus is on the phone.
This holiday season, there's a man out there whose only gift is a nightmare. His suit is red, his beard is white, but the twinkle in his eye is a little strange. Don't let your children near him. And don't, I repeat, don't tell him you've been good all year if you haven't. You've made it through Halloween. Now try and survive Christmas. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Rated R, under 17, not admitted without parent.
You get that Christmas feeling when you're tuned to the holiday sound. Get that Christmas feeling and a happy holiday sound.
The whole story part is, as a little kid, after visiting Grandpa and hearing that whole spiel, they're driving home. There's this guy dressed as a Santa Claus who just robbed a liquor store. He waves down the family, murders the family in front of the kid.
Oh, Jesus.
And so the kid and his brother end up in an orphanage. And, of course, this kid has an aversion to Santa and Christmas and everything else.
Yeah, already I don't want to... This is harsh on my Christmas buzz.
Right. But in the orphanage, the mother superior of the orphanage is extremely strict and tries to beat his aversion out of him.
Oh, dear.
So on top of seeing his family murdered, now he endures about another 14 years of not sparing the rod.
Mm-hmm.
And so at 18, when he gets out of there, he gets a job at a toy store, and one year they decide to make him be Santa.
Oh, this ain't gonna go
And
well.
that just triggers everything.
Yeah.
And that's when he goes on his rage, and finally it gets in his head, hey, you know who's really naughty? That Mother Superior.
Boy.
So he kind of starts making his way there, and that's when the police get involved and everything. So, like I said, it is very story heavy. There are more than one movie.
Yeah.
Part 2 basically shows an edited version of this with about maybe 30 minutes of new footage. 3, 4, and 5 have absolutely nothing to do with it. But the main controversy of this movie, even though there was a movie called Christmas Evil that came out about 3 years earlier, it's not as good. It has a different plot to it. It's more traditional, crazy psycho killer that dresses up as Santa and everything. Nobody said crap about it, probably because nobody went to go see it. I've seen it. It's fair. It's not really that great. But Silent Night, Deadly Night, when it came out, all of a sudden, a bunch of people threw up a controversy about it. Especially Siskel and Ebert calling it evil, and they always complained about every horror film, and they really made a big deal about this.
There's no question in my mind that the showing of Santa with an axe is sick and sleazy and mean-spirited. You people have nothing to be proud of, even if you made a few bucks off of all the negative publicity. Your profits truly are blood money. And Silent Night, Deadly Night now has the distinction of joining I Spit on Your Grave as one of the two most contemptible films I've seen. And I don't mean to think it's campy. It really is quite awful. I would like to hear them explain to their children and their grandchildren that it's only a movie. Yeah. I think that would be a real interesting explanation.
And it was outselling Nightmare on Elm Street when it came out.
Yeah, I did a quick search on Wikipedia and I saw how much the movie was made. And then I saw how much money it took in. I was like, that did better than I thought it did.
Oh, yeah. If that would have been left in the theaters, Nightmare on Elm Street still would be a classic. It doesn't matter. It still would have done the business it did, but Silent Night, Deadly Night would have been a lot more popular if it had been left in the theater. However, the studio that was distributing it got cold feet, forgetting that the best thing to do with a controversy is really write out that controversy. I mean, Last Temptation of Christ 2 years later, I mean, Martin Scorsese was going, okay, well, we'll just let this go. And
yeah, use it for everything that you can.
Exactly. Because what they're saying about your movie is usually not anywhere near, but at least somebody paid a ticket to see it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm boycotting your movie. I'm not supporting this movie. I'm not gonna watch it to know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, I remember the hubbub when this came out, and since I am not a slasher movie fan, I do not like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. I do give props to Nightmare on Elm Street for being creative in the terror, because there's no way to escape dreams or sleep. You can do your best, but at some point even the caffeine is going to work and he's going to get you. So it's not like you can outrun or hide from that. So I had no intention of seeing it. I like believing in Santa Claus because it's fun. And that's why I might go as far as say Christians believing in Jesus Christ is as far as I might go with believing in Santa Claus. But I'm doing it because I know it's fun. He doesn't really exist, but I really do wish he did exist because he really seems like a nice guy. So, I don't like the idea of Santa Claus being a serial killer, which I know this isn't actually Santa Claus.
Right.
So, there was nothing about this movie that I wanted to see. When you sent the song to me, I was like, this is actually kind of funny considering what movie it's from. So maybe the movie shouldn't be taken so seriously as like Friday the 13th or the other 80s slasher kind of movies. Maybe there's some dark whimsy to it that I might find enjoyable. I still can't watch it. I still won't be watching it because even just from the intro, this is going to depress my Christmas. Even though I know in movies, they're actors. They're up, they're walking around afterwards, they take a shower, they wash off all the blood, and they go on and they be in another movie. But for movies, I like to be in that movie world. So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, that poor family. Look what it did to that kid. Oh, my God. The whole family is destroyed. If only they hadn't been in the wrong place at the wrong time, everything could have turned out better. And so this is why maybe I think Home Alone is as violent as I get for my Christmas movies. And just the first one. Because those movies get progressively... Well, they double in the worstness with each movie. There was no reason for 3 and afterwards. 2, sure, kind of curious what happens, but I didn't like 2. Just leave it at 1.
And that's kind of what you do with Silent Night, Deadly Night if you really like. Well, number 2 I've seen, and they've got a guy who plays the grown-up brother of the original character, and he really overacts. And that's only the real reason to watch number 2 is to laugh at it.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, no, there's not a... I mean, there's some line delivery that's laughable. The only decapitation scene in the movie involves a bully who stole a bunch of little kids' sled.
Okay, so he deserves it. I think I've seen that part in the trailer.
Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, some of the people who get killed are not the best people, but yeah, most of them don't deserve it, other than he's got his own little sense of what's naughty.
Right. Sort of like Santa Bot in Futurama. Yes. Yeah.
But it never deserved the controversy it got. And as you can tell from the music that's added to it, they were trying to be creative. The director was kind of like you. The director doesn't like horror movies.
Okay.
And so they had the second director take care of all the bloody parts.
The second director did all the murdering.
Right. The second unit did all the murdering, while the main director, he did all the story parts.
Okay. Maybe I'll check it out, but I will do it over the summer where it will not interfere with my Christmas enjoyment.
Right, and where Madeline's not going to stick her little head in and... Santa! Oh.
Madeline's 12. She unfortunately knows the truth at this point.
But I would recommend, if you like these types of movies, that you definitely go ahead and check it out. My thing is that unlike Eric Paul, I watch a movie and I'm fully aware I'm watching a movie. And so I'm looking for certain elements and everything. I'm looking for things to be different to actually entertain me, because, to tell you the truth, slasher films, oh my God. Sitting there watching the same plot over and over and over, movie after movie, oh my God, it can get really annoying. So when one actually stands out and does something other than just, hey, we've got some guy something happened to him and now he's still alive and mad and wants to murder everybody. Yeah, you get something other than that, you start going, hey, now I've actually got something I can watch.
Oh my God, somebody had an original idea for a way to butcher innocent people. Okay, I'm all in.
Exactly. Hell, that was a Nightmare on Elm Street. We got an original idea of how we're going to butcher people.
Well, there are boobs in it, so I know that I will enjoy.
Yeah. And then Sorority Babes in the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama is actually one of the ones where she keeps her clothes on the whole time.
See, now I want to see that one just for the title.
For a David DeCoteau movie, it is not bad. And we're talking bottom of the barrel director here. But yeah, it's not bad, and it's got Brinks Stevens and Heather Bowers, I think, is the other woman in it. So they make up for any non-nudity of Linnea Quigley. So.
Okay.
And the director is very gay, which is surprising me about how much female nudity he just throws into everything.
Well, you know, the 80s. Boobs is where the money was, not dicks. Sometimes in entertainment, you gotta go where the money is to pay your bills. Which is why this non-ELO podcast is on our ELO podcast page. Christmas Carol Catastrophes is a production of Radio Trolla Entertainment, Assorted Deli Meats Amalgamated. Our theme song was written and recorded by Stephen St. John. Send us an email at christmascatastrophes@gmail.com. Help spread the word by sharing the link on your social networking sites, and rate and review the show at Apple Podcasts. Next week, Santa Claus has got the AIDS this year.
This is the National Broadcasting Company.